Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Yeah, one of the big trends of this year and starting in the last year are compact camera with big sensors and really good picture quality. In this year we have the RX100 Mark III from Sony, we have the X30 from Fuji, one of the big one is the LX100 from Panasonic with a micro four thirds sensor 4K video, so this one is a real big one, and we have the Olympus Stylus One. So there are lots of cameras coming up with big sensors, good picture quality, but in the compact class. And Canon brought out this year at the Foto-Bude also a new one, that's the Powershot G7X. That's also a real compact camera with a big sensor. It comes with a 1-inch sensor, 20 megapixel, and so it's almost exactly the same like the Sony RX100 Mark III, which also has a 1-inch sensor and also has a 20 megapixel. And if you look at the design, you will recognize that the design of the camera or the size of the camera is also very similar to the Sony RX100. So I will give you an idea which are the different points and which camera may fit your needs better, the Canon or the RX100 from Sony. As I said before, starting with the sensor, 1-inch sensor, 20 megapixel. Coming to the lens, we have a 4.2 zoom lens, we have an image stabilizer. The nominal focal lens is 8.8 to 36.8 millimeter, and that means 24 millimeter up to 100 millimeter focal length. Starts with aperture of 1.8 and goes up to 2.8 at the telephoto area. One important point for me are viewfinders. The Fuji X30 has a viewfinder, the RX100 Mark III finally has the viewfinder, the small built-in, but it has a viewfinder. Also the LX100 from Panasonic, the Fuji, the Olympus Stylus One also. So all these cameras has built-in viewfinders, and I like this one very much because if you're outside and you have the bright sun, it's very difficult to see the picture on the screen, and so for me it's very important to have an electronic viewfinder. I want to make the picture real nice with the foreground, background, foreground unsharp, and the big sensor gives me the opportunity to make this, and that's the reason why for me, in my personal opinion, an electronic viewfinder is very important. And so we are here at one of the basic points of the G7X. The G7X doesn't have an electronic or optical viewfinder. The camera comes only with a screen on the back side. The screen is turnable. Yes, you can put it in the selfie function like this. Let's start the camera so you will see it a little bit better. So we have the selfie function like this. You can turn up the monitor up to the front view, but there's no electronic viewfinder, and as you can see, we don't have a flash shoe here on the top of the camera, so there's only no option to put an external viewfinder on the camera like the old RX100 Mark II doesn't, which the RX100 Mark II had. There you could put an external viewfinder on the camera, so that's not the best option, but it's still an option to get a viewfinder. And so in my opinion, I don't know why Canon doesn't have the electronic viewfinder, because for me it's very important, and especially for a camera like this with a big sensor where I have the opportunity to work with the depth of field, and I only can work perfect with the depth of field, especially when I use the manual focus with an electronic viewfinder. If I look to the bright sun in the summer and I want to make a real perfect picture, for me it's very difficult to see this clearly on the viewfinder, to hold the camera like this. You have to hold the camera just in front of you. If you have a viewfinder, you can stabilize the camera with your head. You can hold the camera very firm and steady. And so for me, that's a very important point, which the Canon unfortunately doesn't have. So that's for me one of the big minus points of the G7X. But coming to the other points of the camera, we have the control monitor, and the control monitor is a touch screen, so you can move the focus point, and you can make all the settings, which I'll show you later, with the touch screen, and that's very comfortable. The touch monitor is very comfortable, very fast, very precise. So that's a good option to work with the control monitor. So if you don't need the electronic viewfinder, this one is really good. This is fast and works perfect. Coming to the top of the camera here at the left side, we have the electronic flash. On the side we have the switch to move out the electronic flash. It looks like this. So this is the electronic flash which you can move up. As I said before, we have no external flash shoe, so you can't put an external flash on the camera, on-off switch. Then we have here the zoom lever and the shutter release. On top of the camera we have the program dial, starting with P, program mode, TV time value, aperture value, manual and custom settings. Then we have the video function. Here we have, it's like fun functions. You see when I go into the different settings here, we have the high dynamic range, we have nostalgic, we have fisheye effect, miniature effect, toy camera effect, background defocus, soft focus, black and white, sorry, going back, black and white or monochrome, super vivid, poster effect, and coming back to the HDR. Next point are the scene programs, SCN, and in the scene programs we can also have a look at the scene programs which the Canon offers. We have the portrait, smart shutter, star, handheld night scene, underwater, snow, firework, and that's it. Back to portrait. Then we have it's a little bit like a fun function which you have. That's the creative shoot. The camera makes like 3 pictures and combine it and give you different cuts of the picture, different scenes, and so it's a little. I think it's a nice fun function to work with. Then we have at the next point, we have the auto mode, where the camera makes all the settings by herself, decides which option. You see we have the macro mode here automatically, so the camera decides by herself which is the right scene program, where is the focus, and makes all the setting by herself. Next and last point, that's the hybrid setting, and in the hybrid setting, can show you how they're named correctly, hybrid auto, and in this one the camera makes a combination of a short video and a still picture and combines this to a diary. So when you are on holiday and you make like 10-15 pictures a day, you have just a small movie before the picture, and then you have the picture. So it's a nice combination. At the end of a holiday, the camera automatically makes a movie out of these, and so you have a nice diary option from your holiday. Under the program dial, we have the dial for the exposure correction. It goes from -3 up to +3. So you can make the exposure correction very fast with this dial. Next point, on the back side of the camera, we have the ring function, and if I press the ring function, we have different settings. We have standard, we have ISO. You see I can work with the touchscreen, manual focus, white balance, zoom, dynamic range correction, shadow correction, aspect ratio, and custom setting. So what does it mean? We have in front of the camera, we have a dial, this one here, and you can set up the function of a dial with this button. So let's give an example. If you go to the ISO setting and say, okay, I wanted to set the ISO setting on the dial. When I turn the dial now, you see I change the ISO setting here. You can see how I change the ISO setting, and it starts with the lowest value of 124 and goes up to the highest value of 12,800. So you can set up the ring as you like it, and you can put a function on the ring. If you want to change the white balance, just go to the white balance correction. If you want to zoom, just go to the step zoom. And as you can see, when I turn the ring, you will see I have 28 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 50 millimeter, 85 millimeter, and 100 millimeter. So these are the steps when I use the step zoom option. On the left side of this button we have the video function. So if I press it, you can see the video starts here. We have the video function to start. Then we have the four-way button with a dial and the function set button in the middle. On the top of the top button gives you the opportunity to change between the continuous shooting, single shooting, and continuous shooting without a focus. The difference between the normal continuous shooting and continuous shooting without a focus is the normal continuous shooting is a little bit faster, but the camera picks the autofocus only at the first picture and then holds the focus at this point. With the other option, the autofocus is every time you make a picture is adjusted to the new situation, and so the autofocus follows the situation, and the mode is a little bit slower than the normal continuous shooting. Now move out the flash so we can see which flash options we have. On the right side of the four-way button we have flash will not fire, we have the slow synchro, we have flash on and flash auto. The option slow synchro is if you have a night scene just before sunset and you want a little bit fill-in flash because a person is in front of you and you want the night scene perfectly exposed, but the person you want to have a little bit more light in the face and a little bit more lightened up, and that's the setting slow synchro. Next point is the display, where you can change between the different display settings. You can see we have the histogram and we have the 3D level meter. You see when I move it a little bit out, it's a little bit better to see. Now we have the horizontal and now we have the front and back movement. So you have a 3D level meter. I'm not good today. We have the 3D level meter. Next point is the manual focusing or macro focus. We have normal mode, manual focusing, or macro mode. So you have all the three options which you can use. As I said before, move the frame. We can move the focus frame here on the screen. Function set in the middle, that's kind of the quick menu you may know from a Fuji, or you may know also from Panasonic or other cameras. If you press the function set button, you get the most important settings of the camera here at the side. It starts with the dynamic correction. Then we have the shadow correction, we have the ISO setting where you just can set the ISO. You have the white balance, auto white balance, sun, shade, clouds, different lights, flash, underwater, and individual setting. Going back to the auto white balance. Then we have the My Color setting, where you can go to vivid, neutral, sepia, black and white. So you have the different color settings here, which you may use. Then we have the bracketing function, different bracketing functions. We have the self timer with different times. Then we have the different settings for the exposure meter, from spot to center weighted and evaluative. One important point, we have an ND filter in the camera. We have a built-in ND filter. The ND filter is mainly important for video because when the sun outside is very bright, you have to use very short exposure times, and this gives you like a staccato effect when you look the video. So you have to have a little bit longer exposure times, and you get these longer exposure times only if you use an ND filter. So especially for a movie, it's important to have a built-in ND filter, but also for normal pictures, if you want like flowing water, it's very important to get a little bit longer exposure time to let the water flow and use a bigger aperture. So that's important. The ND filter, nice feature. Then we have the aspect ratio, 16:9, 3:2, 4:3, 1:1, and 4:5. 3:2 is the original size of the sensor, and there you have the 20 megapixel and highest resolution. Then we go to the point JPEG, and yes, we have JPEG RAW and the combination JPEG and RAW. Then we have the different resolutions, large, medium, 1, medium, 2, and small. And we have fine or super fine. So we have the different resolutions also in the compression, in the JPEG compression. Coming to the next point, video. In video we have the highest resolution of 60 frames per second. Then we go down in full HD to 30 frames per second. Then we have the small HD resolution, 1280 by 720 with 30 frames per second, and the VGA resolution 640 by 480 also with 30 frames per second. The good news is, yes, we have the full HD resolution with 60 frames per second. That's very good. So these are the most important, or the most important settings of the camera, which you have in the quick menu here at the side. I like this very much because it's fast, it's easy to handle, and you don't have to go into the menu, so I like these quick menus very much. Next point is the replay button. So if you push the replay button, sorry, go out of the function menu, you push the replay button, you will see we have the we can replay video, or we can look the pictures, and so that's the replay button. And the next point is the menu, and I will give you a quick look into the menu. In the menu we have nothing special. I mean, the points are well known from other Canon cameras, and there is no surprise in the menu. We have the autofocus frame size, we have a digital zoom. They are not highlighted because I have different settings, so they are not, you are not able to use them. We have there autofocus, continuous autofocus on. We have the touch shutter. If I turn the touch shutter to on, then you will see I can just put my finger on the screen and the camera immediately releases. So that's the function, the touch shutter. I will move it now off. Then we have the autofocus assistant beam, manual focus zoom. If you're in the manual focus, you can magnifying it 4 times, 2 times, or off. Then we have safety manual focus, where the camera makes a little bit correction when you work in the manual focus to get the absolute perfect sharpness. We have manual focus peaking settings. We can set the different levels, and we can set different colors for the peaking function, flash settings, ISO auto setting. Here we can make the ISO speed, the maximum ISO speed, and we can make the rate of change, standard, fast or slow. You cannot set a shutter speed where the camera makes the change to the next highest ISO step. So you only have the 3 options, and you cannot put like a 16th of a second where the camera should change in the next ISO step. So that's not possible with the G7X. Next point is the spot auto exposure point, center, or you can use the autofocus point. Just before, also not highlighted, is the high ISO noise reduction, which you can set up, wind filter for video, custom display where you can customize your display, grid lines, electronic lever, histogram. So you have here the different settings that what I said before. When you press the display button, that's the one here on the 4-way button, there you can change between the different settings. And if you switch off the shooting info, I will show you how this looks like, then you don't have the different shooting infos which I don't know, should turned off. Usually it should work. Let's see again. Flash settings, ISO, spot, wind filter, custom display. Oh, sorry, I didn't remove it now. So now it's okay. I go back to the menu, press the button, and now you see we have the, sorry for this, we have, oh my hat, sorry for this. You see the result is there are absolutely no informations in the display. Going back from the bottom, here we have again the custom display where we've been now. Night display, here you can change to the night display, reverse display. If you move the display up, it changes the side, so it's a little bit easier for selfies. IS setting, that's the image stabilizer, face ID settings, set control ring, that's what I showed you before. It's exactly the same when you push the ring function button, and that's it. Function menu layout, there you can make different settings, select menu items which you want to have in the function setting. So if you don't want to have certain points, you can deselect them here in the menu, so you don't have such a long list here when you use the quick menu or the function setting menu. Okay, so go very short look to the setup menu, because here are the only the normal settings like volume, sound options, the date, time zone, lens retraction, power mode, power saving, brightness, and so on. So there are no points you don't know. There are only points which are usual in the setup menu. There are no surprises in the setup menu. One point I said before, replay I said menu now. One point I said before, we have the Wi-Fi option. First, I will show you here on the side. We have the AV out digital and HDMI output here behind this. The HDMI output is not a live HDMI output, so short way to the copter flying. You know, I fly copters. So the camera is not usable if you use a light bridge or stuff like this, because you have no live HDMI output at the G7X. Coming to the Wi-Fi functions, I mentioned it before. Here on the side we have the button to connect the camera with Wi-Fi device, smartphone. I will show you how this works. Just press the button and then the camera is searching. Now I use here my iPhone and I go to the Wi-Fi option. Here is the G7X, connecting to the G7X, and after connecting we use the Canon CV camera window app, and now we're connecting to the camera. I'm so sorry it's in German now, but you may know this is the remote control. I press the remote control button, and yes, I have the same problem just in the German video. I don't know, I tried this several times before, but now I don't know why I'm not able to make it. I don't know why. Yes, now I know why, because the battery is empty. Oh, that's the first time in one of my videos when the battery runs empty in the video. Never had this before, but I can tell you the remote control is only for shutter release. So there's no option that you can change the aperture, or that you can change the shutter time or white balance or stuff like this. So unfortunately there's no option to change the camera settings. You have only the option to shutter release the camera, and that's it. And you may know other remote control cameras like the Panasonic or the Sony cameras, and there you can make a lot of settings from your smartphone, and you can change a lot of settings from your smartphone. I don't know why Canon doesn't do this, because I like this very much. I can put on my camera on a tripod if I like to make macro pictures, and I can work on my smartphone and make a little bit correction here, change the color a little bit, maybe make a small white balance change or stuff like this, and I don't have to move the camera on the tripod. And so I don't know why Canon doesn't do this, but actually you only can make the shutter release, you can make the self timer, and you can zoom with your smartphone, and that's it. And you for sure can transmit the pictures from the camera to your smartphone, receive it on your smartphone, and work with this picture and send it to social networks or something like this. So these are the only options you have with the Wi-Fi connection of the G7X. Yeah, so these are the most important function of the camera. Now you want to know what the picture quality is, and the picture quality is, I think it's on the same level like the RX100 Mark III. I think the RX100 Mark III is a little bit better comparing to the low light function, high ISO function. I think the Sony is a little bit better in this area than the G7X. But overall, the quality of both cameras it's not exactly the same, but it's quite similar, and so there's actually no real winner in comparing the picture quality. On my Flickr account, there are from both cameras the test pictures in the different ISO settings, so you can compare it by yourself. And that's the best way to compare picture quality, because everybody sees picture quality a little bit different, especially when we're talking about noise. Noise is very individual. Some people see noise and they say, oh my god, this is a real noisy picture. Others say, no, for me it's absolutely okay. And so the best thing to do is go to my Flickr account. You will see the address here under my video. Go to my Flickr account, and there you can download the pictures, the test pictures of the Sony and of the Canon, and so you can compare both pictures by yourself and decide which one for your intention is better and which you like more. Okay, so this is the Canon G7X 1-inch 20 megapixel 4.2 zoom, 24 millimeter up to 100 millimeter, f1.8 to f2.8, Wi-Fi built-in, control monitor, turnable control monitor, but again, no electronic viewfinder and no external viewfinder to put on the camera. And so that's one, in my opinion, one of the minus points of the G7X. But overall, if you don't need the viewfinder, it's a real nice camera. It's a small camera. It fits in your pocket perfect. You can see it fits in my hand here perfect. Nice size, nice weight. And so yes, it's a nice camera, except for me, the missing electronic viewfinder. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helped you a little bit to decide which camera is for you the best. If you liked my video, please give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are coming up some more cameras just in the next weeks. Just before Christmas, I think, and then we have the big Christmas holiday and New Year's holiday, and it starts with the new cameras then in January, end of January, I think. But we still have some other cameras in the pipeline, so stay tuned, come back to my YouTube channel and look for the new stuff we have. As always, thank you for watching me, and I say bye and moin moin.